Welcome to this week's episode of Black Plague Precision, where we talk about one of the best companies in the precision long range rifle reloading game. If you're looking to improve your brass, if you're looking for better consistency, you're going to want to tune in because today we are talking about a nilling made perfect. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So today we're talking about a nilling made perfect. Now, a nilling made perfect does primarily focus on annealing brass, but they do have a couple other offerings that we're going to get into. Now, I thought this week might be good opportunities to sort of explain to you guys how I navigate learning about companies, learning about products, and sort of do a real world walkthrough of that process while focusing on a nailing made perfect. Now, I will either start one of two places. I will start on Google or I will start on YouTube. And I'm sure you guys are all fairly familiar on how to use these two platforms, but I want to show you sort of what my mentality is and sort of my approach is when I'm looking at this. So you'll see the first thing we find here. And if you want to walk through, this is exactly what I typed in. But the first thing here is a nilling made perfect, which it should be, right? If their marketing's on point, they should be the first thing that comes up when you type in their name. Now, you're going to see typically some sort of distributor at the top, or you're going to see a video or something like that. And so Creedmoor Sports is a very large company that does distributing for other companies. And you can see they have their situation there. We have YouTube, we have a series of videos. So, sort of whatever way sort of tailors for you is great. But where we get a little bit lower is where you can start to better spread out your searching, right? Not just videos or looking at the website, but places like these forums, like Sniper Hide, as well as Accurate Shooter Bulletin. A lot of times they have actual work that's done, actual research on products, people talking about it, a bunch of stuff that you can read. And so those are great resources, and that's sort of what I look at, right? And something like Ultimate Reloader, he does videos, but he also has workup, all the math done on write ups on his actual website. And so this is sort of what I look at. And as you get through this and as you click on these, because you might not know all of them, you'll start to figure out and you'll start to see consistencies on who's actually doing work in the game. And so this is a great resource. But I will be honest, as much as I do love reading about stuff, I am a very visual person. And so I do tend to gear over to the video side on YouTube. Now, I don't always go directly to the actual company's YouTube channels for a few reasons. One, I find that a lot of companies, they don't do marketing well, and because my background is in marketing, and that sort of field, I sometimes get frustrated that what I would hope was on there is not on there. And a lot of times, just looking at these websites, they're sort of instructional, which is great if you need to learn how to use it. But it's not going to be a biased opinion, right? They're selling their product and they believe in their product, or they wouldn't have made it. And so I don't always start there. I'll tend to start on sort of reviews, people looking over it, sort of things like that. Now, I do have my go-to companies, or go-to people and reviewers, and Ultimate Reloader is always probably number one or number two on where I'm going to look on. Has he done a video on it? Because he is the number one product reviewer in the shooting industry. There's nobody better than Ultimate Reloader. And he does a lot of stuff, not just long range precision. He does, handguns. He does ARs, stuff like that. I've seen stuff on there, but I think a lot of it is tailored to that sort of direction, mostly because it is a very expensive and high end industry, and a lot of really great stuff comes out for this, particularly reloading. So I do really start there. You'll see a lot of stuff. The other person that is in my top two will be Eric Cortina. Now, the reason for that is because he is probably the number one influencer so far as it goes with F class. And F class is extremely difficult to find content on. Um, Not a lot of guys do it, and I think the reasoning is it's a lot of work to put out content. But F class, bench rest, they tend to gear a bit older. Most of the people that I shoot around are at least at the youngest in their mid 45s, like 45, right around there. I'm by far the youngest person out there. And most of the guys are in their 50s, 60s, and they are lights out shooters. They're amazing. A lot of stuff to learn from them, but they're probably not like super geared towards, social media marketing, and they're doing it for their own enjoyment. So Eric Cortina is a great resource. He has a lot, and we're actually going to do a walkthrough of his website because he does have offerings as well. And he's a great resource, a forum, things like that. But he's one of the top guys. I'll look and I'll type in Eric Cortina, I'll type in Annealing Made Perfect, see if he has anything on it. And he has a buddy of his that he learned from who's an amazing bench rest shooter, and that's Speedy Gonzalez. And I like to look from him, but he doesn't put a ton of stuff out either. And the other thing I like about looking at YouTube is that it will have this product, but then it might, once it sort of fades away, it'll have other products that people are using, or they'll have comparison videos of this product and other products. And so I really like that. And this is definitely like, here's a good example, right? So we have comparing amp versus the bench source annealer, and it just so happens to be by Eric Cortina. And so very cool. And so this is sort of the way that I navigate it. Now, I I am an Instagram native guy. I grew up with Instagram. And so I obviously will always look here. Now, if you are looking to get an amp annealer, and hopefully after this, and hopefully this video comes out in time, it should. Today's Sunday. Black Friday has passed, but normally they'll extend these all the way to Monday, Cyber Monday. And so they are doing $200 off the annealer Mark II, which I would highly recommend if you are looking to get it. It's one of the first things I bought, even though I didn't have a press, I didn't have anything like that. I knew that annealing was essential. And so I just made it a priority and I got it. And I actually got this hat when I bought them. They're one of the few companies that actually sent me legitimate swag. And with how expensive the products are that I have gotten from companies, because it isn't cheap to buy stuff from here, you would think that, occasionally I'll get a sticker here and there, but like throw in a shirt, guys. Come on. I mean, we're spending $1,500, $2,000 on this. Make a bundle of shirts and put it in there as an offering, at least for, whatever. But you can see here, and annealing isn't the only thing they have. They have a press as well, which we'll talk about. Oh, look, here you go. Here's a hat. And maybe they send hats to everybody. I don't know. Somebody let me know if you just bought one. Did you get a hat? I bought mine maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago now. So I've had it for a while. But yeah, I'll take a look at this. I don't often talk about this, but I'll look at the comments and I'll see, is there anybody that I should be following? I do have a designated page, Black Plague Precision, where I only follow mostly long-range precision channels, influencers, athletes. I will follow a couple other, shooting stuff if I think it's interesting. But I like to see on here who's commenting, who's engaging, who's following, things like that. And then just take a look. And again, because I do marketing, I like to really just see how companies are putting their stuff out. And I find it as a way of like, how much effort are they putting in, sort of thing. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's just mostly that just has to do with me. And so, but yeah, obviously you guys know I like to take a look at social media. A lot of companies are transitioning over to TikTok. A lot of companies are on YouTube. We didn't take a look at their channel. We might as well real quick to jump back for a second. We got a video that automatically started here. Let's stop that. So we'll see that they do have 3,900 subscribers, which is about 3,093 more subscribers than I have. Guys, subscribe, like, share. I'm trying to help you guys out here. Appreciate the support. But you can see here, they have their videos, and I think a lot of times they're just how they do it and things like that. And you can see here, I mean, they have 32 videos up. But I mean, I guess there's only so much you can say about a singular product, but I think there, could be more. But either way, that's the social media. Those are the videos I'll look at. Why don't we go ahead and let's jump into the website? All right. So we have a Nearly Made Perfect website. If you guys are trying to follow along, that is ampannealing.com. Go ahead and type that in, bring it up, watch the video, do the walkthrough with me. As always, we're going to walk through the first page. We have an instructional video here, one of the 36 or so that they have on YouTube, and you'll sort of see we haven't really talked about what is annealing, right? And so we'll run this while we're sort of talking about it. When you have brass and you are looking to reload, the goal for precision is consistency, right? Can we make one bullet as consistent as the next? If we have to put 20 bullets on down the line, can we make them all as consistent as possible? And this deals with standard deviation. This deals with spread. But the general idea here is whether you have you're shooting your brass. When you shoot it, the explosion that happens in there that shoots out the projectile is going to malform the brass in some way or another. So the general idea of annealing is that you are going to use some sort of heat system, right? Whether it's a flame or it's this annealing system, which is the world's first and only smart annealer, and you're going to heat up the brass and you're going to make the brass the same consistency, right? Maybe that means the same hardness. And I won't say that I'm a expert on this by any means. They would probably be the best person to speak to on this, but the same hardness, the same density, I guess, as close as possible. And what Annealing Made Perfect does, it has sort of like an AI system. They've tested enough brass. And so I shoot 6.5 Creedmoor brass from Hornady. And so I bought that factory and now I'm reloading that brass after shooting it. And so I am annealing it, and it's just an idea of making it as consistent as possible. And so that's what you get this for. And I just, when I was researching, everybody was saying you got to anneal, you have to anneal, you have to anneal. And so I started to look at, well, what makes the most sense for my case use? What do I consider, or what are people saying is the best on the market? What's going to last a while, things like that. And so I sort of landed on Annealing Made Perfect because I liked that it wasn't flamed based. I didn't want to be dealing with fire in my shop or my, things like that. And so I liked this system. It was sleek, it was nice, and everybody was really talking about it at the time. For me, that's really big because you have to follow the right people, right? And so if you're following the right people who are highly successful in this industry and they're using it, and they're continuing to use it year after year, it's probably a good indicator of sort of what's going on there. Now there was the Mark 1, and then there was the Mark 2, and the Mark 2 comes with this new software called Aztec. And it's essentially, I can just put in information about my brass, and it will have all of the settings that it needs. So you don't have to mess with specific settings. It makes it very easy. They have walkthroughs of this, comes in their pamphlet, and I just choose the programming I need, and then it does all the work for itself. It's really easy. You just put the brass in, and it will automatically register. For me, I have the setting on it, automatically registered. Something's in there. It will anneal it. It comes out, and then I put it into a tray to cool down, and then I just put another one in. It registers it. So very cool. No guesswork. I like that. Proven to give tighter average groups. And that's really the idea, right? We want as tight of groups we can get by having as consistent ammo as possible. And a lot has to do with the rifle in that system as well. This is why this sport can be really expensive and difficult to navigate, because you're like, well, is it the ammo or is it the rifle system, right? And so I went with custom built rifle system, and I went with factory ammo that has a good reputation for shooting well. And I thought, okay, that's probably a good place to start. And my everything was shooting really well. And so I thought, okay, from here it can only get better if I can have better consistent brass, because it seems like the rifle is doing really well. And then you'll see companies that they're partnered with. Again, this is always a great place for you to navigate. Click on these. Applied ballistics, that's for getting, using environmental information to figure out, what your adjustments are going to be on your scope, sort of stuff like that, so you can adjust for different ranges and make sure you're actually hitting your target. Night Force, we have a scope company, I believe, yeah, scopes. Um, but you can see here, click on these. This is a good way to spider web out, right? Like I said, my spider webbing really started. And granted, this was years and years and years of me researching, but the main one sort of started um, with Wolf Precision, and then it sort of went to all of these companies. But I sort of ended up with Short Action Customs, and who's their athlete is Philip Vallejo, and he sort of spidered me in a lot of places. And then Eric Cortina, and he spidered me a lot of places. So you sort of find that this sort of stuff tells you all the cartridges, and then you have their information here at the bottom, and you have their contact us, their frequently asked questions, um, all of that information, contacting them, instructions. And so very typical. I wouldn't say there's anything like uniquely like super cool about this homepage. I mean, it's nice that they have the video here and things like that. But it's a pretty standard page. And so let's kind of look at what they have here. Now, setting and pilots. Now, settings is the programming, and then pilots is the thing that holds your bullet. So when you put it in, put it out, you're not actually holding the bullet and putting the bullet in because it's very hot. You're holding this thing called a pilot, and I'll show you guys these that hold the bullet. Now, Aztec is I have the Mark II, so Aztec is the programming they run, and then you do have standard. And you can sort of see here's the Aztec settings, and it'll tell you exactly what you're running here. So let's sort of go through down real quick. You can find your stuff on here, but I am running, let's see, 6mm, down, down, down. Here we go, 6.5. So I am running 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's a 6.5mm, and you can see that is 17 is the pilot, I believe, and then 017A is the program. Let's go back up so we take a look at that. And yeah, you can see, let's see, yep, that doesn't do anything, but you can see that's what we're sort of working with here. That's the annealing code that we can put in, and yeah, oh, there it is, pilot number, so 17, and then annealing code, which is what I put in. So I have that in, I have that set, and I'm ready to go when I'm there. Different cartridges, things like that. Standard version, I'm not sure what standard is because I've never really used it, but I would imagine most people are going to update the software to Aztec, so they have that sort of smaller situation. Now, research, this is nice. They have their research on annealing under the microscope. Now, I'm sort of a nerd when it comes to this sort of stuff. I do want to see some actual written results. I want to see what people are doing. I'm fine to see it from the actual company, but I would like to see it from third parties. Why I really like Ultimate Reloader, because they do their own sort of research on products. And then you can sort of see here, like, this is a better, right? I'm giving a very dumbed down version of what they do, but you can see here, this is a better example of, what is annealing, what is cartridge brass hardness, and, how does, brass expand and things like that. So great to read up on that, especially if you really want to know like what's happening with brass. This is going to tell you about annealing. And then we have repeatable neck hardness, right? And that's sort of what we're talking about when we're talking about consistency. Is this is going to heat up the brass at a consistent level and try to get the brass all to the same hardness. And so this might sound a bit confusing because like hardness, like what is that? What does that mean? You just have to think of brass, like anything, right? Like how hard is a certain object in brass? It expands, and it expands when it is shot. And so when we're trying to put a bullet in it, we want that tension to be as consistent as possible. When the brass expands, we're going to size it back to the same size. and we want it to be the same size, the same hardness, the same tension throughout the entire product. And this helps us bring that back because you can't always get. And a good example of this, when I put powder in, I have a um, I have a 4,000 swing. So it can go 2,000s up and 2,000s down. So as an example, I have zero, let's just say zero, right? From zero, the powder can be point zero 0.02 high or it can be point zero 0.02 low. And I think I run like 56 grains or something like that. I have to take a look at it. Maybe it's a little bit lower now. And so that's not, I mean, it's that variable is not going to mess up your shooting enough, but it is going to affect at a smaller level the brass, right? Let's just say, for instance, you didn't anneal the brass, and let's say one piece of brass you had point 0.4 down, or let's say point 0.4 up, and then somehow the next time that one also ended up with point 0.4 up, and also ended up with point 0.4 up, and then you had another piece, and somehow that brass had point 0.4 down. Well, now that brass has been shot every single time. And it's, it's been shot at a significantly different one as the other one. And so this just helps bring everything back to a normalizing state. Let's talk about the products. This is really why we're all here. The products, right? So the Mark II annealer. Now, again, this is what I own. This is what I use. I trust it mostly based off of what other people have said, and seems like it's helped. I'm getting relatively good standard deviations for my skill set and what products I'm using. So I feel pretty good about it. But either way, this is the product, and it's really nice. I mean, it's got a digital screen. It's got an easy button and navigation system. It doesn't heat up like super hot. The back will heat up, but doesn't heat up super hot. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm gonna hurt myself. Doesn't feel like if I leave it, I'm gonna like set my house on fire. For machine specific, select below. So if you want to know about the power input, cooling, thermal products, runtime, safety, pilots, dimensions, has all that information here. Power input on the back. This is the system. So this is where you'll put whatever, drop-in system, and then you'll have your pilot to hold the brass, and you'll put that in. Thermal protection, like I said, doesn't get super hot. I think it runs pretty well. The ergonomics, we're not going to talk about this quite yet, but you can see here that they have these different pilot systems that you can put in, and they work well depending on your brass. So I haven't had any, like, felt like I was going to burn my fingers or anything like that. So amazing product. There's plenty of videos out there reviewing it. Check those out. I'm just here to sort of help you navigate the website, and so you guys sort of know what we're looking at, where are things, because I will say a lot of times, like, I just spend so much time looking at websites, I can't figure out where anything's at, or it just takes forever, and then if I eventually find it. But let's talk about the amp press. Now, I do not own the amp press. I do want to own it. The thing is that I bought the Area 419 press. It's a great press. I mean, it's considered one of the best single stage press, if not the best single stage press out there. But it seems like people are transitioning away from that, or at least for precision rifle shooting, and they're going more to the single loaded rounds with a single loaded press, especially because it gives them the option to take it with them. Now, this one probably not going to take with you, but the general idea is that what they're loading with is a lot different than what I have. Now, I run the short action custom seating die, and I have all short action custom dies except for my primer, though that one's not short action custom. But I run short action customs. I run the Area 419 press, and it's great. I have consistently, but it seems like this one, everyone's doing this. And the reason why is because you're putting it into the die, the machine is pressing it down, and it's actually, you can hook it up to your computer and you're measuring the actual output of pressure that's going. So you can build the most consistent sort of pressure that's put down on everything. And yeah, you can measure like how far the depth down of a bullet is, but I think the pressure is nice because it also tells you how consistent everything is on the tension, as well as making sure your depth is correct, right? So that's essentially what this is showing you. You'll see this sort of consistency graph here. A lot of the research that's done, that, and the die goes here, and it has the motor. I do want one of these, but man, it's just sometimes it's just really difficult to justify spending money in this industry where it's like I just spent thousands of dollars to buy this press, to buy these dies, or I mean, the short action custom seating die is not cheap. It's on sale right now, I think, for Black Friday for about 275. But when I bought it, it was 375. That's for one thing, for one die, and you get sort of the thing you need for. I got it for 6.5 Creedmoor, but it's not cheap. And so you have this product here, and I know this is over $1,000 to buy this, but when you get to a certain level, maybe you're ready for this. And I'm not at this level yet. I mean, that's just the honest truth. I am still pretty new to shooting. I'm still in my first 5 years of shooting. I have the best stuff that you can get for what I have, but haven't made that next step, right? And you can sort of do that, right? This annealing made perfect. Granted, I could have bought a different sort of annealer that wasn't as nice. So I did get some of the best stuff, but I don't have like this sort of upgrade yet, but I do want one of these. It'd be really cool to test it out. And it does need a specialized die, which I'm still trying to figure out that whole system because a lot of people are putting those dies out. So, but yeah, that is the amp press. Now, the amp mate, this is something I also want. And when I am shooting more, which right now, if you don't know this, most like competitive shooters are shooting about 4,000 to 6,000 rounds a year, and that's pretty typical through the entire sport. They might even be shooting more just if they're like offloading ammo for fire forming or something like that. But generally, it's right around there. And when you're doing that much and you're reloading that much, something like this is amazing, right? This system, essentially, you put your brass in, it'll feed through the system, it'll anneal it itself, it'll put it in a tray. Now, I do just enough. I anneal about 50 pieces at a time, something like that. And so I can sort of manage that on my own. But if I wanted to do more and when I want to save time, I will buy this additional kit. But again, this is about $1,000 as well, a little bit over. You can see they have their instructional video here. Let's jump forward. They're doing the setup. I wanted to show you like it actually working. So it matches up with your settings. Again, they're still working through that. Settings. I actually liked the video. I watched it even though I don't own it. But yeah, it's just kind of troubleshooting it. I figure like they should actually show it working. There you go. So it's pulling it through, it's coming down, or coming around, then pushing it out after it's annealed. And very cool system, very like saves time. But again, I don't have any. And the same thing with like, I have a single stage press that takes time. You could use, a system to push everything out. And I know Eric Cortina does that. I just am not there yet, and I don't want to switch anything out. And I kind of like the like a little more hands-on approach. I feel like touching everything for me makes it feel a little more real, and like I have a little more say in what's happening. And then their last thing is the Aztec program, which again is their new programming. They have their downloads here. They do have it for Mac. They do have it for Windows, so you can do your downloads. Buy stuff, buy domestic. I am in America, so this is actually the site that I normally. Oh no, look at that, they're sold out. So unfortunately, by the time this comes out, this is going to be sold out. Sorry guys, but you can see here they have their pilots, they have their annealer. Oh, and we have a pricing. So there we go. So $1,600 out the door. Plus, it's relatively heavy, so it's got to be shipped. Annealer. You have $20 for the pilot. This is $1,400 for the amp press, which again I do want, but not now. We have the amp mate. Aztec programming. So you can see about 200 bucks for that. The mate is 500. That's actually not that bad. I could swing that right now. The problem is I'm just not quite ready to use it. I don't need it, right? I mean, my amp is only getting used a couple times a year right now because this is expensive sport and I'm trying to find a way to afford to do it. I spent all my money essentially on getting ammo, building a custom rifle, and building a reloading shop. I have all of that now, and I don't really need to buy much else. And so that's really nice. But now it's really about putting money into stock loading, brass, and bullets and powder. That's sort of the big thing. And then I can sort of jump to these. Now, this is sort of this die that I was talking about. This is the Ellie Wilson stainless steel. It has a micrometer, which means it's just very tight measurement that you can add on here. Very good and quality measurements. But this sort of die, the idea is that you put the brass in the bottom that has, the powder and stuff like that. You can put the bullet in top and it comes down, or you can take this top part off and put the bullet in there and then put this back over. But the idea is that every single time that something gets seated, it's perfectly aligned up and down because of this system, and it allows it to do so. This allows it to go perfectly up and down. Then the amp will allow the same amount of pressure to be put down it every single time for the most part. I kind of want this book, but I don't want to spend the money. I know that's cheap of me, but making the story of the Ampaniller, I just think it would be cool to own it. And then they have some accessories here. I have the hat. How much they sell on this hat? Or 20 bucks, and they're giving it away. That's pretty nice of them. We have case reloaders. We have sort of accessory parts. Here, I suppose if something breaks or you damage something, you need to replace something on your systems, you'll have all of this stuff. So that's the buy now. We have news and videos. I can't imagine there's a ton of news coming out, right? Because, I mean, maybe they're upgrading software and things like that, but they don't have anything new regarding like the actual offerings. Articles, videos, about us, frequently asked questions, which is a good area to sort of navigate if you want to learn more about what's happening in the products. And then their contact. And they are based in New Zealand, so I don't know if they have a rep that's out in America that's easy to contact, but I'm sure you could email them, would probably be easiest. I do find email is typically easiest in this industry because even if a lot of companies are not in America, for one, and for two, even if they are in America, a lot of them are small. So they're busy actually running their business and living their lives. So I tend to find that email works perfectly well. So that is Annealing Made Perfect. Hopefully that walkthrough was helpful for you guys. Again, if you are enjoying the videos, please share them. Please like. Please comment. I know this is a brand new channel, but I want to bring you guys content that I'm not seeing anywhere else in the industry. I want to work at a level that everybody can navigate. This does take time. This does take effort. And it's taken a lot of years for me to build enough confidence about the industry to feel like I can talk about it. Hopefully, I'm not messing up too many things. If I am, feel free to comment and judge me. And I'll just take that as helpful criticism, continue to learn. But thank you guys. This was the episode on Annealing Made Perfect. And you guys have a great day.